talk about 5 very simple things that you can do this month to begin to lower the toxins in your life, reduce the chemicals, and create a simpler, healthier lifestyle, not only for yourself, but your family and anyone that lives near you or is around you on a regular basis. I'm Jackie Elmer. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Grab my guide at lowertoxiclife.com for other tips and hints. All right, so today, building on what I've done over the course of the last few months is give you regularly 5 little simple hacks that you can start to incorporate into your life today to reduce that toxic overload. The goal is to give you little steps that you can take that don't overwhelm you, because a confused mind says no, but gives you things that you can begin to incorporate and then habit stack each month, adding new little things that you do to create a healthier, happier life for yourself and your family. So this month, we're going to cover those 5 things. All right. So first up this month is home fragrance. When we think about toxins and chemicals in our world, we often think about the food that we eat, beverages we consume, our personal care products, and home cleaning products. Occasionally, we might also factor in bug sprays, pesticides, weed killers, and those are all horrible things. But very often, we forget about those things that we use to fragrance our home, including candles, sprays, etc. So I'm going to give you a very simple few tips that you can begin to use to change all of that out. Do you remember when Poo-Pourri came on the scene? I think it retailed for about $9 a bottle for a small little container this size. And it was designed so that your guests or whoever could spray the toilet bowl and then they could poop, and it would reduce the smelliness of their bathroom habits. And that was a crazy amount of money. Well, I simply recreated that with some distilled water, same style of bottle. And then this particular one that I recreated in a Trader Joe's bottle is simply, this is lemon room spritz. It's distilled water, a little bit of lemon essential oil, and then I also added some eucalyptus to this particular one. Gives it a very fragrant, spa-like experience, and you can just put this in your bathroom. One of my favorite ones is lavender. Lavender is a very calming scent. You can do the exact same thing, essential oils, distilled water, and then you can add it in here. You can spray this lightly on your pillowcases before you go off to sleep, spray it around you, spray it in your car. You can travel with these. You can buy these. I'll link these in the show notes, but these little glass bottles you can buy. I think I got 9 of them for maybe $1 a piece on Amazon. I'll put the link in there for you if you're searching for these. But these are just little, I don't know, 4-ounce bottles maybe, and you can make up a number of these. There were 9 in the package that I bought. You can put them all around your house, have them in your car, put them in your travel bag, and then have them with you wherever you go. Then also really pay attention to the candles that you bring into your home. I showed a candle. Begin to phase out those petroleum-based Yankee candles or any of those brands that are petroleum-based paraffin wax candle. That's like burning a little oil well in your house. Paraffin is nothing but the leftover sludge from gasoline products, fuel, oil, all of those things that we use to power our cars, fly airplanes, all the rest of it. You do not want that burning in your home. Now, as you begin to incorporate in healthier waxes, make sure you're paying attention to the fragrances that are used in those products as well, because if they're not using high quality essential oils and they're using something toxic and chemical based and synthetic, chances are you're still going to have some of those toxins released in your home. Now, you may be thinking, what the heck? What's a little sized candle, right? Well, it's easy to think that, but there's a great book out there called Fatal Conveniences. And I always like to factor that in with moderation. And I always like to give you the analogy, depending on your age, but if you're close to my age, you might remember the I Love Lucy episode where Lucy and Ethel worked in the chocolate shop and they were wrapping chocolates and they were on the assembly line. And pretty soon the chocolate started coming through faster than they could actually wrap it. And pretty soon they were stuffing chocolates in their mouth and putting it down their shirts and trying to get rid of that. That's what our body begins to do as we slowly but surely get up in the morning, eat toxic food, shower, shave, and put our makeup on with toxic chemical-based products, clean our homes, live in our carpet and all the different things, maybe go out and garden with fertilizers that aren't super healthy and a lot of those type things. So pretty soon we become our own toxic soup. And we don't think about it because so many products that are out there are labeled with the GRAS label, generally regarded as safe. And if you really go down the rabbit hole, which I have, you'll find that a lot of that is tested on the honor system. The chemical company, the manufacturer is on the honor system to determine whether or not it's healthy for human consumption. And by consumption, I don't necessarily mean putting it in your mouth. I mean all the different ways that we are around and consume things, whether it's touching it or whatever it is. So keep that in mind. Begin to swap out your home fragrance. Now let's talk about my fitness moves, my 5 for 5 for 5. I do have a playlist here on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed and go check out that playlist for functional movement that as we age gracefully, and we're no longer looking to be maybe that bikini model or compete or be in a magazine or anything like that. We're just looking to stay toned and healthy and fit and functional so that we can move and have mobility, pick up those grandkids, do all the things that are so delightful in this phase of life. So here comes my 5 functional moves for the month. So today we're going to really focus on core, the pelvis, the legs, and really that functional movement that allows us to quickly turn and do different things as we age gracefully, fabulously, and fit. So join me as we do this. And remember, it is practice over perfection, really and truly. And you're going to probably see me stumble a little bit and waver and not have my balance all together. But here's the thing. I remind myself every day I am a constant work in progress. So let's start with exercise number 1, which is think like a baby. We're going to crawl. So I have my yoga mat here for you. Ideally, you're going to go about 8 paces forward, 8 paces back. So if I move out of the frame a little bit, that's okay. You get the idea. But we're basically going to get on all fours. You're going to start on all fours, and ideally, you're going to come up like this. Okay, so you've got your almost like a downward dog. You're going to bend your knees, and then you're just going to crawl like a baby. 8 forward, and then you're going to do the exact same thing, 8 back. And as I always like to do, I like to do each exercise for a minute so you can time it for yourself. If you want to crawl all around the house, you can, but part of the idea of this is to keep yourself engaged, keep your feet up, go slow. This is not a marathon. It's a sprint. It's all about your balance, your core, okay? It's all about all of that. And if you want to add on to this, there's a lot of things that you could do as you crawl with legs, okay? So again, all of this is stuff that you can put together and do what's going to be great for you from a functional fitness perspective. And if you see Heidi back there, Heidi is my visiting dog. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is kind of a squat hip swivel. So you're going to get in the squat position, and what you really want to do is kind of go side to side. If you can lift your legs, that's great. But a big part of it is kind of like pretend you're a belly dancer, and you're going to get those hips swiveling and moving. If this is as far as you can do, that's great. If you can get yourself into a more movement-oriented thing where your balance is good, you can lift your legs up, that's great. But again, you do you. The biggest thing is to move and pivot in that squatting position. You'll feel it in your quads, you'll feel it in your glutes, you'll feel it a little bit of everywhere. And it's also, again, working those core muscles, keeping them functional and fit, so that we can twist and turn and move every step of the way. And again, 1 minute. Okay, now we're going to practice kind of, again, the squat a lot of what we're going to be doing here is hinging. We're going to really focus on hinging. So get into your squat position. You're going to hinge over and move back and forth. Move back and forth. Come as low as you can into the squat. And again, the biggest thing with this is not to rush it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, working those quads. You'll feel it in your hamstrings. You're going to feel it in your glutes. And be sure that you're pulling your abdomen in, okay, your core muscles. Be pulling those in, but just really be practicing coming down and lowering. And kind of like the paleo squat that I've done in another video, these are the things that help you be able to get into this position. And I'm still not quite able to get up on my own, which I don't even know when that happened, but I'm working on it, so stay tuned. All right, for this next one, we're going to get into kind of a runner's lunge, although your knee is going to be on the floor. And again, we're going to focus on hinging. Put your arms straight down, and you're going to come up and raise and down. Come up on that leg, lift the back. You'll see me hanging on here. I told you, it's practice over perfection, right? You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it started. You're going to come up and hinge forward. Now, here's where you have an option. You can do it 30 seconds aside or a minute aside or however long you can till you get this exactly to where you want it. Remember, our goal is 5 movements, 5 minutes, 5 times a day. So now we're going to just simply do it on this leg. You can see I'm much more balanced on my right leg, maybe because I'm right-handed. Lift, up, and lower. And that is functional fit move number 4. And then the final move that we're going to do today is simply tree pose. It's a yoga pose, but it's great, again, for your balance, for that core, and for working those functional muscles. So you're simply going to take a leg. You can go as low down on your leg as you want or as high up. Just kind of tuck it in there. You can slightly bend your straight leg, and then you're just going to hold it. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do. You can do, a lot with your arms up. You can do your arms out to the side. If you need to be holding onto a chair, you can kind of lower down a little bit. But again, you do you. It's practice over perfection, because practice is what leads to perfection. And once you've held that move on this leg for 30 seconds to a minute, you're simply going to rotate and do the other leg. Don't be afraid to have a chair. This isn't close to me, but if it were, it's kind of like those pictures you see of holding on to something that's way in the distance. You're going to do the exact same thing with the other leg. And it's interesting, you'll notice you typically have one leg that's stronger, steadier than the other. Just make note of that. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just gives you something to work toward. So again, you're going to hold this for 30 seconds to a minute, and then we're done. And that is our 5 for 5 for 5 for the month of April, or whenever you happen to be watching this video. All right, so start incorporating those moves into your daily routine. Next up, I want to talk about some little habit swaps that you can make on the lip balm that you use. Most of us are used to products like Carmex, chapstick, the Trader Joe's brand, even Burt's Bees, which is quite often known as a healthier brand. But is it really? Do you know so many of these incorporate petroleum? This Carmex is medicated. It has an SPF 15, which means it's an active chemical that's going on your lips. You're licking it off. If you eat, you're ingesting it, all of those different things. So you have to begin to think about and read the labels of these types of products. And with like Burt's Bees Shimmer, a lot of these, especially the red, contain dyes that aren't super healthy for us. Now, again, I'm an 80-20 girl. This came right out of my purse. So I'm not going to try to pretend like I never indulge in these type things. But when I'm just hanging out around my home, I've replaced all of that with healthier swaps. First one I'm going to point out is Paula's Choice Lip and Body Treatment Balm. I started using this a couple of months ago. I really, really like it. And it passes the test on the EWG app, the Environmental Working Group app. I like what it has to say about most all of the Paula's Choice products. It's a fairly clean line. And then I recently ordered this one off of Amazon, Manuka Defense, and I'll leave the link below. It has Manuka honey in it, and it's a healing lip balm. And it's just good quality ingredients, and I really, really like it. I like the feel, I like the smell, and I like that it doesn't have those toxic chemicals. So that is habit hack number 3 for this month. Begin to explore, read the labels, and replace out as many of your lip balms as you possibly can. All right, hack number 4 is suspend old beliefs. This is where we're going to get into some of our thought work, because as I mentioned, living a lower toxic life is not just about the food we ingest, the personal care products, or our home cleaning products. It's toxic relationships and certainly those toxic thoughts. So what I want to encourage you to do is begin to think about some different things, and what do you have a belief system around that may not be serving you? Now, I will tell you one that's come up for me, and if you've been following my channel, you know I've been on a bit of a carnivore keto journey for the last 6 to 7 months. And I had to really work hard to suspend some old beliefs to get myself into the mindset to even test it, and then certainly stick with it as long as I have. I'm going to tell you, I love my vegetables. I love my seed cycling with chia seeds and hemp seeds and flax and pumpkin seeds and all of that. But as I began to really experience different things, as I mentioned, I don't have any chronic disease. I'm not on any medications whatsoever, no prescription drugs or any of that. But as I've begun to age and move into my 60s, I definitely have felt more joint pain, inflammation, brain fog, indigestion, just interesting things that were going on in my stomach and in my intestines as I would consume these healthy foods. And I finally kept thinking, what the heck is going on? I am eating so optimally based on the health foods that are out there. So what is going on? And as I began to go deeper and deeper and do my research, I figured out that raw vegetables weren't working for me. So I started sauteing them. That worked a little better, but it didn't completely cure up the issue. And as I began exploring more, carnivore and keto kept coming up for me. And then I found Dr. Ken Berry, who I absolutely love. He's got a great YouTube channel. I'll link it below. And he really began to educate me. Now, one of the things that I really like about Dr. Ken Berry is he is testing this not only on himself, not only on his family, and it appears to me that his wife is not 100% carnivore, so she incorporates some other things, but he also is testing this on, I believe, over 1,000 patients, and he's tracking it and he's detailing it so that when somebody says, well, there's really no scientific studies, he's going to be able to say, I have my own scientific studies. And it's kind of funny when you look at peer-reviewed scientific articles and a lot of that type stuff, you will find that very often the test group that they do those on is very small, even less than 100 people in many, many cases. Now, as I always say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but if you go to citations.lowertoxiclife.com, I do cite all the research that I have done. You can start there and begin to make some decisions for yourself about your own health. And what I have found for myself is I had to suspend the old belief that vegetables are healthy, that 80% of my diet should be vegetables, seeds were good for me, and all of that. And I started doing research on rudimentary animals like cows and lamb, sheep, bison, those animals that have multiple stomachs and how they process vegetables. That's for another video. I have a playlist here on my Carnivore keto journey that you can follow, but I had to suspend the belief that all of those other foods were healthy. And I had to ask myself, yes, but are they healthy for me? Are they right for me? And you've heard me say over and over again, if you've been here for a while, you have to be your own best body hacker and biohacker. What works for me will not necessarily work for you. So when somebody starts pushing back and says, yeah, but this scientific study shows or whatever, maybe, but maybe not for you. I heard recently from someone at the CDC or the FDA levels talk about settled science. And I thought to myself, when is science ever truly settled? We used to think the earth was flat. Some people still do. I tend to believe it's round, but I'm not going to dispute anybody who believes otherwise. I am all about letting people be who they want to be. But so many different things have evolved over time that started with one science and have moved to another. Fat in the diet is one. Ansel Keys, I believe it was, is the one who got us started down the grains are healthier, carbohydrates, get rid of all fats because that's bad for you. And now we know that was a train wreck. And unfortunately, especially women still tend to lean toward that today because we've been programmed to believe that fat makes us fat and that protein makes us fat and all of that. And again, that's a whole nother video, but that really does lead to that habit hack number 4. What are some old beliefs that you're holding on to that aren't serving you well? Whether it's in the diet and nutrition space, whether it's in the workout and movement space. I know for me, I used to have the belief that if I couldn't work out for an hour, there was no sense doing it whatsoever. And then I started thinking, what if I just do 5 minutes today? I don't feel great, but what if I just do 5 minutes today? And what if I do 5 minutes every hour for 5 hours? That's my 5 for 5 for 5. Pretty soon I've worked out for 25 minutes. What if I do 5 minutes per hour for 8 hours of the day? That's how we begin to habit stack. That's how we begin to suspend old beliefs and change a lot of that. So I have definitely learned to, if I really want to explore myself, grow as a person, I have to be willing to step outside my brain, look at what my belief system currently is and ask, is that true? How do I know that's true? And is it really serving me? And what if I just suspended that belief for a short time? That's what I did with Carnivore. What if I just suspended the belief that I needed all those vegetables and seeds every day to be healthy? What if I suspended that belief for 30 days? And then what if I suspended it for 6 months or whatever it was and built on that? And that's how we begin to create personal growth and new belief systems that ultimately, ideally, will better serve us. And then hack number 5 is to pick one vice that you currently have. Now, most of the time when I say that, something comes to mind immediately for people. What's one habit or vice that you really deep down in your soul feel doesn't serve you well? Maybe it's that nightly glass of wine. Maybe it's like me. I had a real affinity to chips and salsa. And quite frankly, I still do. But I had to ask myself if it was really serving me well to mindfully, or rather mindlessly eat chips and salsa just because it was a comfort food. It tasted great on my tongue. It went great with the margarita, whatever it was. Or because I was at the Mexican restaurant and they set the bowl down in front of me, I felt compelled, because it was only the polite thing to do, was finish the entire thing and then ask for another round, right? Maybe it's coffee. Maybe you've been looking to kick that coffee habit. Pick one good vice, suspend your belief about it, and then set a goal to begin to eliminate that. Maybe it's the Starbucks drive-thru every morning. Maybe it's that pastry that you add to your coffee order, where if you could just eliminate that, you might become a different person. Now, if you're going to pick that vice, and I really encourage you to, the other thing I want to also encourage you to do is find a good, healthy substitute. Maybe if you're giving up coffee, you're going to go to green tea or a matcha tea or something like that. Maybe you're going to try something different like that. Maybe if you're going to give up that pastry, you're going to eat a little fat bomb, which I have recipes over at recipes.lowertoxiclife.com. You can make some little simple, now again, that does have the chia seeds, and I'm going to have to begin to suspend some of my beliefs around that and maybe find some different hacks that work for me. One of the things that I am finding on my carnivore journey, I'm just going to add this: nuts don't seem to bother me as much as maybe the seeds do. Now, I've started soaking my nuts for 8 hours or overnight, and then I kind of dry roast them myself, and that seems to do better for me as well. So pick one good vice that you're going to eliminate, find a good replacement for it, and that wraps up our 5 hacks for this month. We've got our home fragrance hack. We're going to change up our home fragrance and the chemicals that are surrounding us in that. We're going to add 5 new functional movements to what we're doing. We're going to find some good replacements for our lip health and overall well-being with that, especially as summer approaches. There's nothing worse than using some of these medicated petroleum jelly type products on our lips and then going out into the sun. Number 4, we're going to pick some beliefs or a belief and suspend it. For me, it was, do I really need vegetables and seeds? And then we're going to pick one good vice that we're going to work our way out of as best we can. We're going to test it. We're going to try it. We're going to hack it and see what happens. So drop me a comment below. How does all that land with you? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Grab my guide at lowertoxiclife.com and watch this next video that I have coming up for you.